Colleagues, we're about to begin. Before we formally begin, however, it is my duty to read this disclaimer. All events taking place in this venue may be photographed, video recorded for rebroadcast, or live streamed for marketing, social media, or media purposes. By attending this event, you grant the University of the West Indies, MonaMedia, permission to use and publish any recorded material. Dr. Therese Ferguson, Deputy Dean, Postgraduate Matters, Faculty of Humanities and Education. Ms. Simone Williams, National Mathematics Coordinator, Ministry of Education and Youth. Ms. Nicole Morgan, Training Manager, Early Childhood Commission. Ms. Diane Facey, Ms. Margaret Dixon Lewis, Ms. Lakeisha Coley, Ms. Veronica Parkinson Burnett, Ms. Tonya Cole, and Ms. Nicola Williams, partner panelists, members of the audience, both face-to-face and online. Good evening. My name is Zoya Kincaid Clark. I'm the coordinator of graduate studies in the School of Education, and I am coordinator of early childhood programs in the School of Education. Along with the project researchers, Dr. Harris Vutsina and Dr. Lois George, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the launch of Written Numbers in Everyday Life. As an early childhood specialist and a mother of young children, I have a keen interest in strategies which make learning fun, relatable, and most importantly, transferable. Today's launch will be short, sweet, engaging, and purposeful, which are all features of effective early childhood activities. In this launch, you're going to hear from the researchers and the partners who will actively participate, and you're going to be actively participating, I'm certain, in the project, and we're going to learn more about this project since its implementation. At this time, I will welcome to the podium Dr. Therese Ferguson to bring God's rich blessings on today's proceedings.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kincaid Clark, and good evening, everyone. Let us go to God in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you now in awe, reverence, and gratitude for the life and breath that is coursing through our bodies and for this day that you have made. We come praising you for your glory, your majesty, your power, and your might. We praise you because you are God and because you are good. Father, as we come together to celebrate the launch of the Written Numbers in Everyday Life project, we come thanking you for the possibility and promise that this project holds for mathematics education in Jamaica and beyond. Father, your word says in Proverbs 22, verse 6, "Start children off in the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it." This scripture highlights the importance of early training, education, development, and more with respect to children. It also highlights the role that parents play, and we note that this project involves not only teachers and young children, but parents as well. So, Father God, as we officially launch the project today, we thank you for the partnership between universities, the UWI Mona campus and the University of Southampton, as well as the partnership between parents and teachers. We pray your blessing upon all stakeholders involved in this project, from within the schools, universities, and more. We pray for a successful and meaningful launch event as well, with meaningful dialogue and reflections from all those involved. At the end of the day, may all bring glory to you and be meaningful for mathematics education. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Thanks very much, Dr. Ferguson. I must bring apologies for Dr. Marcia Rainford, Director of the School of Education. Interim, I'm going to ask that Mrs. Simone Williams, National Mathematics Coordinator of the Ministry of Education and Youth, to bring greetings.
One of the first things I always have to do is to make sure I am being seen. Yes, so please pardon me while I adjust. Dr. Zoya Kincaid-Clark, Chairperson, Senior Lecturer, Early Childhood Education of the UWI Mona Campus. Dr. Theresa Ferguson Murray, Deputy Dean of Postgraduate Matters in the Faculty of Humanities and Education. Dr. Marcia Rainford, Director of School of Education. Ms. Nicole Morgan, Training and Development Manager in the Early Childhood Commission. Dr. Charisse Votsina, my apologies, Associate Professor with the University of Southampton. And Dr. Louise Clark, Senior Lecturer, Math Education at the UWI Mona Campus. Principals, teachers, parents, students, persons online, a pleasant good evening to you all. It is with great pleasure that I stand before you to bring the warmest greetings and best wishes on behalf of the Ministry of Education and Youth as we unite for the launch of the Written Numbers in Everyday Life project hosted by the School of Education at UWI in collaboration with the University of Southampton. It is safe to say that the future of our nation is looking bright and promising. I commend both institutions for thinking about implanting math in the minds of our young ones from ages 3 to 5 years old and actually executing that thought through a project such as this. I would also like to commend our parents, teachers, principals for being a part of this important initiative. Your support shows and says a lot about your consideration and commitment to the well-being of our children and how they will incorporate the laws of mathematics in their lives. There's no doubt that mathematics plays a crucial role in our everyday lives. Just look around you. There is beauty in symmetry, and it is everywhere. But like any era in life, some of us may find aspects of math to be challenging. Some may say boring, or some may even become anxious when the name is called. The features of this project, however, speaks volumes as it aims to change those outlooks from an early stage. There are measures incorporated that would not only lay the foundation of math in our children, but to make them have fun while learning. It has and will continue to positively impact the mindset of our parents, a group that is one of society's critical change makers. More importantly, students, and may I also add parents, will make meaningful connections between their experiences with numbers in their everyday life, boosting their confidence and excitement about mathematics. Let's call that bridging the gap. And if you ask me, that sounds like a recipe for success. We at the Ministry of Education and Youth are pleased with the features and functions of this program, as we believe it is in line with our mission of fostering a deep appreciation for mathematics in classrooms across Jamaica. The project showcases the critical connection between home and school, a partnership that is a main priority of the ministry. When you examine the framework of the National Standards curriculum that guides the teaching and learning processes at the primary and and the lower secondary levels of our education system, you will notice it speaks to developing successful lifelong learners, confident, productive, and
Panelists, audience, we look forward to a meaningful launch event as we listen to, learn from, and engage with the panel discussions and the wider project imperatives. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant good evening to all of you. I am very sorry that I was late, but I am delighted to be here. I couldn't allow this occasion to pass, and I'm not here, because I think this project is so very important for us as a country, and certainly for the School of Education. Ever since I was a child growing up, mathematics seemed to have had some mystery. But what I think is very clear is that over the years, this mystery seems to have intensified. And more, it's more and more common to hear, "I don't like mathematics." Certainly when I was growing up, that was not the norm. It wasn't as widespread, but it is now. And I want to say that what I find interesting about this particular project is that it has gone to the heart of the matter, at the foundation, at the early years, intervention at the early years. And I think along with that, the number of persons, and Dr. Ferguson already spoke to it, the number of persons who are being brought into the process is very important. It's not just about the children. It's not just about the teachers. It's about the homes. It's about the environment. And I think this is so important from a strategic perspective in terms of how you're going to tackle this very pervasive problem. And so I really want to congratulate Dr. Lois George from the School of Education and her colleague from Southampton, Dr. Vostina, who have come together to put this here in Jamaica and in our schools. I think it is so important that we recognize that this problem can't be tackled from one angle. And I welcome the involvement of parents in particular, because so many parents find it so challenging to help children with numbers. But I think if you think about just the title of the project, Numbers in Everyday Life, it's to sort of demystify it, to normalize it, to make it a part of the routine, and I really want to salute them for that. And so I want to say, as a School of Education, I am very proud that this project is here. Certainly Dr. George knows that she has my full support, and I am looking forward to the time when we will see little children and their parents running around on the campus searching for numbers in everyday life. I really am looking forward to that, and I am welcoming the Ministry of Education and the other stakeholders who have come on board, and I really, really wish them all the very best. I look forward to not just the outcomes in terms of the outcomes from the children and parents' perspective, but also from the research that will come from it, Lois. All the very best, congratulations, and well done.
At this time, we ask Ms. Nicole Morgan, Training Manager of the Early Childhood Commission, to bring the
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed, but I need some involvement of the parents. When I say one, you say? Two. All right, so we're going to pump it up a little more. When I say 1, you say? 2. When I say 2, you say? 3. When I say 3, you say? 4. When I say 4, you say? 5. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just singing this song, children are learning many mathematical skills, such as sequencing and pattern, and many, many more concepts. And it was fun, wasn't it? And math is what? Fun. Definitely fun. And written maths project, written numbers in everyday life is what? Fun. No, sir. No, let's try that again. And you know fun. Written numbers in everyday life is? Fun. Beautiful, beautiful. And we have the teachers here, we have the parents here, and we have children here. So give everybody a round of applause for participating. As you know, I'm early childhood, don't it? Yes, yes, definitely. Again, good evening, everyone. Many children and adults will tell you how much they enjoy working with numbers, while others will share the lack of appreciation. However, one thing remains constant. Numeracy is relevant to everyday life, and it can and should always be fun. Math gives us hope that every problem has a solution. Early numeracy skills lay the groundwork for future academic, for helping the individual to shine in more complex math topics in advanced years. The sense of accomplishment that we all feel when learning a new skill cannot be understated, and the same can be said about children at the become more confident in their capabilities to make choices and solve problems independently. Parents, of course, play a critical role to children's development in numeracy skills. It is this mindset that allows us or allows them to navigate through the day-to-day challenges to become better leaders of tomorrow. The Early Childhood Commission is appreciative for this partnership among University of the West Indies, Mona campus, in collaboration with the University of Southampton and Waypoint Enterprise, and believes that this pivotal move will change the trajectory of numeracy level outcome for this generation and those which are to come. Do you believe that? John C. Maxwell noted, if you're proactive, which you have shown, you focus on preparing. If you're reactive, you end up focusing on repairing. Today, we are investing in a proactive path for numeracy that will lead to a brighter tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nicole Morgan, Training Manager of the Early Childhood Commission. At this point, we're going to have our first panel, which will be about 30 minutes, and we're going to hear from the project researchers. And they're going to discuss the project. They're going to tell us a little bit more about the project, the purpose, the benefits, components. They're going to talk a little bit about the research behind it, as well as provide us with a little bit of the preliminary findings or information from the first cycle of the project. So that's going to come from Dr. Vutsina, and then Dr. George is going to bring that back to us locally, and we're going to hear about how the project, what it looked like and how it was implemented here in Jamaica. All right, Dr. Vutsina, how do we get?
Hello, everyone. I hope you can see me and hear me well. Hello, I hope you can hear me. It's my great pleasure to be joining you today. Thank you so much for this event and for inviting me. Dr. Lois George and I have a long-standing research collaboration. We have been working together for both our institutions. So I'll try and share my screen now and hope that this will work well. I hope you can see my screen.
Recording stopped.
Shall I continue? Can you see my screen? Yes, okay, good. Okay, thank you. Thank you for confirming. So, expanding numbers in children's worlds. This is really a second phase, an expanded phase of the project that we call written numbers in everyday life. And this is the project that started last year. Here at Southampton in the UK. It was a collaboration between myself, my colleague, Dr. Debbie Stott, and Southampton-based early years practitioners and primary school reception teachers at Southampton. Sorry, I will try. Okay, that's better. So I wanted to get rid of something that I could see in my screen, so I hope you can see my slides clearly. So this project started last year, and this year it's the second phase for us, an opportunity to expand internationally. And we are very fortunate that through my collaboration with Dr. Lois George, we have been able to expand this project with our preschool partners in Jamaica. I'm going to give a little bit of background for this project. So first of all, what we mean by written numbers in the environment. As part of this project, when we say written numbers, we mean numbers that we can see all around us. They may be numbers that are printed on different signs and labels. There may be numbers that we see in a digital form. There may even be numbers that are made of different materials. For example, the number 5 shaped as a birthday candle on a child's birthday cake. So all of these we consider to be examples of numbers in everyday life. We think it is very important to support children to understand what these numbers around us are used for, what are their multiple meanings and social uses, how they're used in everyday life, and who uses them. This is very important because it is this understanding that it can then make meaningful for children the learning that takes place in the classroom when it comes to mathematics. So the current project, which is focusing on engaging families with discussions about the meanings of numbers in everyday life, is actually built on previous empirical research and evidence that we have from a previous project that we did here at Southampton and which was funded by the Liverhulme Trust. As part of this project, we worked with preschool children. We collected data from them and with them, and we tried to understand how preschool children understand the multiple meanings and social uses of numbers that they see around them. And we found that to make sense of the meanings and purpose of written numbers in their environment, and in order to communicate this understanding, the children draw from their awareness of 3 main elements. And this is first, of course, their recognition that the symbol is a number, but also their recognition and awareness of the object upon which the number appears, the context, the location, the situation where they see a number, and their recognition and awareness of any other symbol that may be next to the number. For example, any currency symbols that may be accompanying a number. And all these 3 are dimensions that children are drawing from in order to make sense of what is the meaning of a number that they see around them. So this is just examples of what we mean by object context symbols. So for example, a price sticker on a shelf, that is an object where we see a number and the currency symbol accompanying the number. And this is what it gives it its meaning. The context in this case is shopping, supermarket. So by context, we mean the activity or also the location and situation within which we may see a number. And the symbol, the accompanying symbol in this case is the pound symbol or dollar symbol, the currency symbol that appears next to the number, and it gives the number its meaning. So we found that it's not enough for children to just be able to recognize that a symbol is a number and not a letter, for example, and it's not enough to be aware of the object, the context, or any other symbol separately. But what is important is for children to make a connection between the number, the object, the context, and any other symbol that they see next to the number, and use this connection in order to express the number's meaning. It is also important to help children develop connections and understandings that are aligned with the broader cultural shared rules that all of us share and all of us understand. For example, we all have a shared understanding of what number 5 means when we see it on a price tag, as opposed with, seeing number 5 on a speed sign. So helping children develop these culturally shared rules is very important. So a key question then for early years education is, what can we do at home or at preschool, at school, to help children expand their awareness and understanding of the multiple meanings and social uses of numbers? And this is what brings us to the current project, because after having done this empirical research with children and after having discovered how they try to develop their understanding of the multiple meanings of numbers, we thought that really what is important is to think of how we can develop something that will be pedagogically useful. And this brings us to this project, in which we have developed a program of activities with which we are embedding easy, fun number spotting games that families can play as part of their everyday activities and routines, using the everyday environment at home or outside as a learning resource and as a learning opportunity. So the current program, the Written Numbers in Everyday Life project, aims to support and empower family engagement with talk and discussions about numbers, and also to support families' confidence and parents' confidence to talk about numbers at home and outside the preschool context. And we hope that with this will help make meaningful connections between the children's experiences with numbers in everyday situations and their learning about numbers at school. Another very important aim of this collaboration with our colleagues in Jamaica was to see how and to what extent resources and the program of activities that we developed in the UK context can be embedded within socio-culturally relevant practices in a different cultural context, that of Jamaica. So we wanted to see to what extent the key ideas that underpin the project, but also the resources that we developed as part of the project, can be transferable and can be adaptable to a different cultural context. And this is where the role of our preschool partners is so very important in Jamaica. So just to say that in designing this program of activities for families, we were informed by a pedagogical theory that is called variation theory. And the key idea that underpins this theory is that while learning something new, it helps to support children to compare, contrast, and generalize key aspects of a new for them concept. The way we have tried to do this in this case is, remember I talked about the different elements that children are combining and draw from in order to develop an understanding of the meaning that a number has. They first need to recognize a symbol as a number. They need to recognize the object, the context, and any other symbols that may be next to the number. So the program of activities that we have developed is designed in such a way that helps children compare, contrast, and generalize these different elements. So, for example, we may have a number spotting game where we prompt children and families to spot the same number, say, for example, number 5, on different objects, different contexts, and different situations. So in this case, we keep number 5 as a constant, the same, and then we vary the objects, the context, the situations, or other symbols that may be seen next to the number 5. In other cases, we may keep the context the same. So the activity may be about going to the supermarket while shopping. So this is the context of shopping, the context of a supermarket, and spotting different numbers there that have different meanings. So we try to keep one of these elements constant while we vary the other 3 elements, and design activities that are underpinned by this principle of comparison, contrast, and generalization. So that is why it is important that families engage with the activities that constitute this program in the specific order that we have designed them, because the order and the sequence of these activities has a specific rationale which is underpinned by variation theory. We designed 2 different formats and resources. One of these is a home learning booklet. So the booklet includes ideas for number spotting games and activities that the family can do inside their home or outside as part of everyday activities and routines, but it also includes activities that the children can do inside the booklet itself. A second resource is a set of postcards, activity postcards, and this is a little bit more flexible and perhaps less demanding for the family in comparison to the booklet. And the way we have been using this is preschools receive a set of activity postcards for each family, for each child, and they send home 1 or 2 of these cards as an activity, as a weekend challenge or as a weekly challenge, and the families are completing these challenges at any time as part of their everyday life that is convenient for them. And I'm going to explain other parts of the family engagement a little bit later on. So this is an example of one card. So the challenge here is look for the written number 10 on different objects in lots of different places at home or outside. And we provide examples of things that the family can look for example, number 10 on speed signs, on clothes, on price tags, on boxes, or on money. The cards, as well as the booklet, also provide prompts that the family can use. For example, we are prompting the children and their family to notice the number, notice the object that the number is on, notice the context, the location where they have seen the number, and notice the symbol and any other symbol that may be next to the number. And we're also prompting the families to talk about what does the number tell us, who needs to know this, and why. So it's going back to this idea, what are the messages that numbers convey, who needs to know this, and how do we use these messages in order to organize our everyday life. So in terms of what the program implementation includes, as I said earlier, the families are engaging with weekly number spotting games and challenges. The children play these number spotting games with the family's support and encouragement. And the families, the parents, the carers are using the discussion prompts that we provide in the activity postcards or in the booklet in order to initiate talk about numbers with their children. Then we ask the parents to use their mobile devices to capture photographs of the spotted numbers in the environment that the child has noticed as part of playing the game. And then we have shared a unique link I'm not sure if many of you will, I'm sure, be aware of Padlet, which is a platform where people can upload photographs or text. So we have generated a unique link for each preschool classroom, and the parents in that classroom can use that unique link to upload photographs of numbers that they have spotted as part of the number spotting games, and any comments that the parents want to share with us in terms of the discussions that they have had with their children about the particular number, and anything interesting that perhaps the child noticed or said or asked. And we use, this is such a rich material, and I'm going to share with you examples of this in a minute, that gives us a real, very rich insight about how families engage with these activities, the different contexts and situations within which they engage, and also the discussions that parents initiate with their children. The use of the Padlet and this platform also gives the opportunity to create a shared online community of young number spotters, because this is a link that the preschools and the teachers also have access to. All the families in the classroom have access to this link. The children can see what their friends have done as part of the number spotting challenges, what numbers they have spotted in their environment. So this creates a really lovely online community of number spotters that we hope further encourages engagement with the games. It also supports teachers to use this resource in the classroom in order to trigger and initiate classroom-based discussions about the numbers that children have spotted when playing the game with their families. So it creates a nice platform, a nice opportunity to make links between the family-based program and any preschool-based discussions that the teachers initiate and organize at preschool. And here I have only a few examples just to show you the kind of photographs and comments that the parents have uploaded. We have collected such a rich material from this, and it was not possible to share everything with you. So here I have just collected just a few examples. And here you can see number 3. These are all examples from the same child. So she spotted 3 on a ribbon that she won on sports day for placing 3rd in a race. Then she spotted 3 in the supermarket, and you can see the comments that the parent has added. So these comments are comments that have just copied from the platform, is the comments that the parents themselves have uploaded, and you can see the explanations and the discussion that the parent is initiating. So for example, here is number 3 plus. On food packaging, and the parent is writing, she pointed out the number 3 on the package of the milk container we used to make her tea, which shows 3 plus for ages 3 and older. So this is an example of number 3 showing ordinal position and order, and number 3 used as the label on the supermarket to identify a particular aisle, and also number 3 to indicate age on food packaging. So this activity will have nicely, hopefully, supported this child, recognize that the same numeral can have many different meanings in everyday life. And we believe this is important because very often in early years education and the early years curriculum, certainly in the UK, is focusing very much on numbers communicating the concept of quantity. So numbers being connected with counting and helping us answer the question, how many? And although this is a very, very important meaning, of course, that we want children to understand, it is not the only meaning that numbers have. So it's important to help children expand their awareness of the multiple meanings of numbers. And the everyday life, our everyday environment, is such a rich resource that we can use to help them understand this. And here you can see a nice exchange between a child and his dad. He spotted number 3 on a chart, and his dad also pointed out that it wasn't only number 3, but also the number word 3 underneath. And there was a nice also discussion about what comes before 3 and what comes after 3. So you can see how these opportunities are, learning opportunities are not only about learning the social uses and everyday meanings of numbers, but parents can also use them to expand other mathematical understandings, such as this of ordinal position and the sequencing of numbers. These are even more examples with numbers on notes, on money, numbers that show quantity on packaging. And this is a very interesting comment, because this in this example here, the child has spotted number 4, which indicates that there are 4 items in this box, and the parent is writing, without asking him to count the items in this package, I asked him how many things are in it, and he points to the number and said 4. And this is very nice, because you can see the parent here, how they want to expand the discussion and see whether the child will be able to read and understand that the number 4, in this case, the numeral 4, the written number 4, indicates the quantity, and so there is no need to count the items in this case. Here at the bottom, there's another example of 9 on a building, on a house. And this is another example where the parent is using the opportunity to extend further the mathematical learning, because they also noticed that all odd numbers were on the left side of the road going down. So it's an opportunity to talk about different patterns, the sequencing of odd and even numbers on different sides of the road. And that photo on the right is a lovely photo from one of our preschool partners. They organized a trip for the children to a local store, and the children looked at different shoe sizes and compared different shoe sizes, looking at the numbers and talking about the numbers and the sizes that they communicated. These are just 3 photographs from one of our preschool partners in the UK. Again, you can see here the context of shopping. Here on the right, the child spotted number 10 on one of the rulers that they had at home, and she used this ruler to measure the wall. And she made the observation that if you put it down here, it's shorter. If you put it up there, it's longer. So obviously not a very straight wall in this case. And this at the bottom here is another example where the child is spotting number 6 on a package of hot cross buns, which are very popular here at Easter. So he reads the number 6, but he also noticed that the arrangement of these round buns was in a 2x3 arrangement. And he recognized this arrangement because it was similar to his Number Blocks. So Number Blocks is a TV program for children here in the UK. And children have also toys based on number blocks. So it is nice how this child noticed that this arrangement, the 2x6 arrangement, 2x3 arrangement of 6 buns in the supermarket was similar to the 2x3 arrangement that he had on his toy at home. So making these connections are really valuable for children, because this is how they can then generalize. So I shared earlier an example where one of our preschool partners took the children on a trip to a local store. So as part of this project, we're looking for how we can develop opportunities for preschool-based activities during the 6-7 weeks of the family-based program, so that we can create links between what the children are experiencing at home and what they are experiencing in their preschool classroom. And hopefully this will help us, as I said earlier, create some sociocultural relevance between these resources, which have been developed in a different cultural context and the particular context of Jamaica. So just to give you a few examples of preschool-based activities that our partners have been organizing. They have been organizing number hunt games on their preschool grounds. They have been writing and creating number hunting songs with the children and skits. children and teachers have had the opportunity to use examples from the material that the parents have been uploading on the Padlet to create their own activity cards and their own displays, and therefore adapt these resources that have been they have been using from the UK and create their own a version. And this is important for creating, as I said earlier, a more sort of socio-culturally relevant resource. They have been also organizing number spotting walks in the local area and number spotting games when visiting shops, which creates a nice link with the community. In terms of the overall project timeline, we started the project implementation, the program implementation in February 2024. It's still running with our 3 preschool partners in Jamaica, and we will soon start collecting evaluation data and start analyzing. We are going to collect parents' feedback and experiences through a questionnaire, a parental questionnaire. We're going to collect and analyze any notes that families will have added inside the booklets that I showed you earlier. We're going to also analyze the material that parents are uploading on the Padlet, and we're going to conduct interviews with teachers and early years leaders. As I said, the program is still running, so the evaluation phase will start very soon when the weeks of implementation are going to be completed. A few things about the anticipated benefits of this project for young children. First of all, we believe and hope that through their participation in this project, children will develop their awareness and understanding of the multiple meanings and messages that numbers communicate in everyday life, and they will be able to recognize the relevance of their learning about numbers and, by extension, the relevance of mathematics learning for their everyday life. That mathematics is not just something that they do in the classroom, but mathematics is something that has relevance and use in their everyday life. We also hope that children will develop their understanding and awareness of other symbols that have mathematical meaning and may be seen next to a number, such as currency symbols, or also symbols that signify units of measurement, such as ml, kg, and so on. And we anticipate that with their participation in this project, the children would develop their confidence in recognizing and naming numbers, and, as I said earlier, linking their math learning with their life outside the classroom. What has been really interesting so far is that through informal verbal feedback that we have received from some families and teachers, it has been pointed out that there are other benefits beyond mathematics for children as part of their participation in the project, because when they're playing these number spotting games, the children and the families are not talking only about numbers, but they're also talking about the objects and different situations and locations and purposes and uses of numbers, and who uses the numbers and why they need this. So it is an opportunity to develop children's wider vocabulary and language, which is a benefit that we had not anticipated, but it is, a nice surprise when we receive comments like this. Anticipated benefits of the project for family engagement. We are hoping, what we are trying to achieve is to empower families to recognize and utilize the many learning opportunities that exist in everyday life as part of their everyday activities and family routines. All of us, irrespectively of how confident we may feel about mathematics, all of us have this knowledge of the everyday meanings and social uses of numbers. And it is for this reason that I feel, passionate about this project, because I think it is a unique opportunity for inclusive family engagement with learning about numbers. The social uses of numbers is something that all of us have, and it is a very powerful resource that we can easily use as part of our everyday routines to instigate easy, fun discussions with our children about numbers. And this can have a massive impact later in terms of developing their positive attitudes and curiosity about mathematics, which later on will have a link with their later mathematics attainment. And I think this brings me to the end of my presentation. I'd like to thank you so much for inviting me to this event, but also a huge thanks to all of you who have endorsed this project so warmly, and to my colleague, Dr. George, who is such a key collaborator for expanding this project in Jamaica, and a huge thanks to our preschool partners without whom this project would not have been possible. Thank you so much.
I am Lakeisha Coley, the principal of the National Water Commission Cooperative Credit Union Basic School.
Hi everyone, I'm Veronica Parkinson Burnett, the principal of the Jamaica House Basic School. Regarding the written numbers in Everyday Life project, I was ecstatic when Dr. George came to me. Early numeracy sets the foundation for children.
I see this as something that the children need to be exposed to, rather than just seeing the numbers in class on a day-to-day basis. They pass the numbers on the road, at home, just about anywhere. First week, children were just coming to me and tell me, "Miss, I saw the number, my mother showed me the number. I saw it at home when I was going home on a car. I saw it on a sign." I came up with the idea that we should go on a trip to the Sovereign Center with my teachers for the children to actually see how it is that numbers appear just about every and anywhere. That day was an experience for us. I mean, it was very tiresome, but at the same time, it was exciting, because when the children saw the numbers, they saw the numbers appearing everywhere. It's like they were like, "Miss, there's a number, I see a number." I am Lakeisha Coley, the principal of the National Water Commission Cooperative Credit Union Basic School.
Hi everyone, I'm Veronica Parkinson Burnett, the principal of the Jamaica House Basic School. Regarding the written numbers in Everyday Life project, I was ecstatic when Dr. George came to me. Early numeracy sets the foundation for children.
I see this as something that the children need to be exposed to, rather than just seeing the numbers in class on a day-to-day basis. They pass the numbers on the road, at home, just about anywhere. First week, children were just coming to me and tell me, "Miss, I saw the number, my mother showed me the number. I saw it at home when I was going home on a car. I saw it on a sign." I came up with the idea that we should go on a trip to the Sovereign Center with my teachers for the children to actually see how it is that numbers appear just about every and anywhere. That day was an experience for us. I mean, it was very tiresome, but at the same time, it was exciting, because when the children saw the numbers, they saw the numbers appearing everywhere. It's like they were like, "Miss, there's a number, I see a number."
There are parents who said, "Miss, I am so excited my child can recognize the numeral 4, I can recognize the numeral 5. I am so happy, thank you, thank you, thank you." And there are persons who just run with it because they now get time to interact with their child. It is even for 5 minutes, but it's quality time that they have spent with their child. The next cycle, yes, I would, but with a little tweaking, because maybe I wouldn't go to the old school at this time, because there are some who would have benefited from the project, and I wouldn't want to replicate it again with the same student. But there are some who are a little behind, so I want to focus on them, and then that way you can see the real benefit.
Thank you very much for having us and for really allowing us to be a part of this project. We really enjoyed it, and we are looking forward to being a part the next time around.
all protocols have been observed, and my chairperson is a person of time, so I've cut my presentation to just only a few slides because I've been getting the eye. And I know that, our teachers, parents, principals, you have come straight from school. You still have your school clothes on, and it has been a long day. So we appreciate that you are here, and we also value your time. So I'm just going straight into the implementation of the program. We implemented the program with 3 schools and 3 partners. We ended up having 3 different approaches, and it wasn't by choice. The principals, when I approached them, they decided how they were going to roll out the program of activities in their school, and we ended up with 3 different ways, which allowed us to have different types of data and different types of settings to evaluate. So we have Jamaica House Basic School, which did a whole school approach, which allowed us to have over 100 parents participating in the project. Let's give us, yes. Thank you to Mrs. Parkinson Burnett. When I came to her, I said, I just want one class, maybe, 25. She said, no, we're doing everybody, and that was it. So this was one of the approaches. We also had, let's see if the technology will work or not. The tech people are assisting me, thank you. Fantastic. We had NW, CCUBS having and implementing with a grade or an infant level. And then we had our Bloom experimental school with 1 class. So we ended up seeing different ways in which the parents and the teachers and the principals were not just implementing but managing the program, because the principals had to do a lot of managing and encouraging, and they will tell you that when they talk to you about their experiences. So it was fantastic for us. So we have had our first cycle, cycle 1, and the question is, what is the next step? What is the projected implementation? So we have had cycle 1 in Kingston, and some of my principals in other regions and other parishes are saying, when is written numbers in everyday life coming across to us? So this is cycle 2. We are looking forward to cycle 2 going throughout the length and the breadth of Jamaica. And we'll be able to do that with our partners who are here today, ECC and the Ministry of Education. I said to my director that you seem to have seen half of my presentation when she spoke about the multi-sectoral approach, which is the approach that we have adopted for this program. We are not just doing it as a university, a local university. We are not only doing it as ministry. We are not just doing it as a private sector entity, because you notice one of our project sponsors is a private enterprise who said, this is a great project, and I'm going to come on board and do certain things for the project. So we are also going beyond the walls and the spaces of Jamaica into the Eastern Caribbean. And we have had discussions with our colleagues from the University of the West Indies in Cave Hill, and the School of Education has said we are coming on board with this project, and they are going to be implementing. So thank you to my colleagues over there who are on YouTube even now. And you notice that there is pink and green, which suggests that we are going to be having overlaps of the cycles going on. And we are in conversation with my colleague from St. Lucia, Janella. Thank you for your support. And from Dominica, obviously. And we are just seeing where can this program go. But you notice, in addition to scaling, I have as well stacking, because the topic of written numbers is just one in the curriculum that extends to everyday life. What about shapes and spaces? What about other things? I'm seeing nods. So that means this program, it has the potential to go beyond just written numbers and go the gamut of the curriculum. And this is the vision. This is where we are going. We are going to be working assiduously to achieve those goals. And as we are going into our second cycle, while I know we will be reaching out to teachers and to principals, etc., but I know some people who want to reach out to us. And we are recruiting actively. This is a QR code. Feel free to scan, get in touch with us. We want to begin the conversations because we want to bring this program to the length and breadth of Jamaica. And to do that, we need schools, we need principals to come on board. If our partners didn't come on board, we would not have this activity. Finally, of course, you need to be immersed in this. Number hunt adventure. I spy, I want you to look around, look around, look around. I spy with my little eye a number that is less than 5. Anybody? Okay, somebody says 2. Where do you see 2? Somebody saw 2. Where do you see the 2? Remember we're talking about the object. On what object is it? It's on a banner. And somebody said it's a telephone number. Do we see other numbers next to that number 2? What numbers do we see? Yes, yes, exactly. So you have just been immersed in what a little of the conversation would look like in terms of the object, the context, the symbol. And I take my leave here, and we are going to bring in our partners to go into panel 2 to begin that discussion. So you can start transitioning to meeting us at the front. Don't be shy. I know some of my teachers and my principals are saying, Dr. George, me not like this thing, you know. But we want to hear from you, and we appreciate you. So, Miss Ferguson from Bloom, and your teacher, and Miss Facey, come. Mrs. Dixon, and then Miss Coley and your team, Mrs. Parkinson Burnett and your team, come right along, and I hand over to our chairperson. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, all right. So Dr. George said I'm a stickler for time, but guess what? Time, numbers, right? Okay, so numbers in everyday life. All right, so at this point in time, these are who the researchers refer to as their partners of the project, and this is because these stakeholders were instrumental in the implementation of the project, as Dr. George spoke of. So we have a number of persons in the panel. Quickly, if you could just give your name, first name if you're comfortable, or full name if you are. So go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Lakeisha Coley.
Veronica Parkinson Burnett.
Good evening, everyone. The name is Nicola Williams.
Good evening, everyone. The name is Tonya Cole.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Margaret.
Well, go on, everybody. Big up on yourself. My name is Gayan Facey.
Excellent, 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 excellent. Excellent. Okay. So at this point in time, I just want to ask a couple of questions, and I'll also use this as an opportunity and extend to the members of the audience. If you have questions that you can also ask the members of the panel to respond. So the first question that I have is, why did you decide to participate in this initiative? I know we heard from the principal of Jamaica House Basic, and we heard from the principal of Water Commission, but what of the teachers? Because I'm sure, well, I hope you could have declined. So, so why did you decide to take it on? And we know when we have projects, some persons take it on with enthusiasm and then others don't. So clearly you are enthusiastic. So why did you decide to participate and take it on?
Okay, why did I choose to participate? It wasn't for me. It was for my children. And we realized that we were having challenges with a few of them. So we thought it was a good idea to introduce this math program in a different way. And it has been working, not to work, so it wasn't for me, it was for them.
Excellent, excellent. Anyone else?
Okay, so when I was growing up, I had a love for math until I reached high school and it starts getting more difficult. So I had a mind block to it. I didn't want my son to be that way, so I thought this was an opportunity to get him involved from early so he wouldn't have that same experience that I had.
Excellent.
So I would I'm sorry. Okay, so unlike my colleague here, parents here, my love for maths transitioned to now. I am a teacher in training. And the love that I have for maths, I wanted it for my daughter as well. So when I got the card, I was saying, okay, this is really fun. And I wanted to do it, and I thought it was a really good initiative, and I can see it doing wonders.
Great to hear. For you, a benefit to your school. Talk a little bit about that. Just one or two of you, volunteers.
All right, for my school, there were a few children who were really lagging behind. They were not performing up to the rest. And so when I heard about, when Dr. George came to me, honestly, I grabbed it with both hands. And I said, yes. And the truth is, you have some teachers who, they don't like math, and so they really don't do a good job at it. And I said, this is something similar to what I keep saying. Make it fun, let the children laugh, let them see the fun in it. So when I saw her coming with this thing, I said, yes, this is really what I want. And it took a little persuading for some of the teachers to buy into the program, but knowing me, I really don't stop at, like, drive it, and then some of the parents say, Miss McCampbell, I say, hello? Come on, man. And then I will be at them and I say, hold on, I don't say upload anything. Come, daddy, come, daddy. He said, Miss, I say, listen, do it. Send it to my phone. I will upload it. And, you know, they get excited now. And I said to the children, when you go home, tell mommy, do the thing, tell daddy. And so they said, Miss Burnett, say. And, you know, and so the parents don't have a choice. They just have to run with the program. And they're getting excited because a parent coming to me now and say, but miss, this, I never know says so the thing nice, man. I like it. But the boy just a chat. Because, you know, they're seeing it everywhere now. And the parents say, Lord, there's a parakeet. So they're really having fun with their children, and the children are learning.
Excellent, excellent. If I can interject, any kind of activity that gets parents working with their children is going to be of benefit. So I could definitely see why coming out of the initial results in the UK, where language development was central, and that was an add-on benefit. Just plug in that. I would love to hear. Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so just for me, just like Miss Burnett, I was really excited when Dr. George came. I said, listen, excited not for myself, but for the children that were going to be exposed to the challenge. I believe that walking on the road and just having a conversation with your children is great. You know, you're developing their critical thinking skills, and that is what I was looking forward to. Because when a child is going home, they can say to their parents, listen, I see that number there, and then we can develop it from there when they come to the classroom. Rather than just sitting and coloring in the books or circling the numbers, listen, expose them to talking rather than actually, you know, doing that addition. I think that is where they get scared of mathematics, because every time they're go into numbers and they have to count and all of that. But just having the conversation to say, listen, I see the number there and this is what it means. It changes their thinking, and so they develop this love for maths. So I was
Excellent,
really
excellent, excellent. We have parents in the audience, right? Parents? And you are a parent participating in the program. I have a question for you. How has this helped your child?
Okay, this has helped my son, who is 3 years old, that learned at school into everyday life. So for example, we went to Canada for holiday, and I took him to the John Deere store where they sell tractors, and so because he watched Blippi, and Blippi was talking about the tractors and the excavator and whatever. And when he went there, he was able to say, Mommy, that's a combine harvester. Mommy, that's a this. Mommy, that's a that. But, and colors and so on, we do it in the supermarket. We go along the soda aisle, although we don't drink the soda, but because they have a lot of colors. So we were working with him with words and objects and colors. But then I said, but what about word, the number, and the count, you can count. And when I took it home, he just threw them in there and said, Auntie Margaret said, this is a project that will help help them to identify numbers. I said, I am getting on board with this one. And so it has really helped. So he is now practically applying the concepts of numbers. So when he sees a number, he is able to identify it and he's able to apply it. It has reached a point now where he can put in the code on his tablet. So when I say the number and the screen comes up, he can actually spurred the code to him, because he loves money, and he drew the money. And when the money came out, he was able to get the money, and he said, Mommy, five money. His picture was there, and you know, and I have also, as a practical application, I am teaching him the code for my phone, because I said, if there is an emergency, if I block out at home or something, he should be able to put in the code and call somebody, because he knows how to use WhatsApp. So, yes, he can look at the picture and say, this is Auntie Tristan, and he can call Auntie Tristan. So I've applied it to a practical way, because things happen. And we're home alone most of the time, because Daddy is always out working. And I'm saying, if anything should happen and we're in the house, I would like to know that he's able to identify the numbers and even to make a call. So that is how it has helped us.
Excellent, excellent. That is, I think, it really ties it nicely together. The importance of the transferability of concepts to real life. That is how children really learn. If they can't use it in everyday life, they're not going to learn it. And that's it. I'm a stickler for time. Thank you so very much. I really enjoyed this. Thank you so very much. Principals, parents, teachers, congratulations for doing this. All right, at this point in time, I'm going to ask Miss Vanessa Powell, one of our PhD students in the School of Education, Mathematics Education.
In everything that we do, it's very important that we express our gratitude. because without the support, without the help, it would definitely not be a success. And so we'd like to highlight a few persons this evening who have been the pillars behind the success that we've experienced here. First, I'd like to express gratitude to Dr. Therese Ferguson-Murray, the Deputy Dean of Postgraduate Matters in the Faculty of Humanities and Education. She brought us a very powerful prayer this afternoon, and she also brought greetings on behalf of the faculty. To Dr. Marcia Rainford, Director in the School of Education, she has shown overwhelming support for the program from inception, and so we want to really thank you for offering that support, and thank you is certainly not adequate to communicate how certainly we feel about your contribution. Dr. Harris Vostina from the University of Southampton and the project Collaborate Across the Waters, and she's waiting. And so we look forward to partnering as the project expands to other regions. To Dr. Kincaid Clark, our moderator, our chairperson rather, this afternoon,